Hey guys, Thomas and Dan. One of the things that we wanted to go over in this video is a big thing in my concern, and it's called inheritance tax. A lot of people that's involved in estate deals, they come across this, and it comes across our desk a lot. Dan's going to explain a lot about what happens in inheritance tax.
So the reason why we're prompted to do this video is because we recently had a deal go into closing. Thomas was involved in the deal. The sale price of the property was, I'm going to get my calculator out because I want to do this math with you guys. But basically, sale price I think was $280. So sale price was $280, and it was an estate. The estate was properly set up. There was an administrator for the estate, and the person that was the beneficiaries of the estate were children of the deceased person. And in Pennsylvania, the inheritance tax rate for parent to a child is 4.5%. So the title companies typically will hold what they feel like the inheritance tax will be plus 1.5 times that, or just 1.5 times that. So, for example, if a deal was closing and the inheritance tax was anticipated to be $5,000, 1.5 times $5,000 is $7,500. So the title company would say, "Hey, we'll hold the escrow money. We'll hold the money in escrow for this inheritance tax, but we want you to once you file the inheritance tax return and you go to pay it, give us the return, and we'll pay the tax from the escrow, and the rest of the money we'll hold." Well, the rest of the money that they hold could take 6 to 9 months. In this case, we had a deal where the sale price was $280, and the title company wanted to hold
$18,900.
12. So $280 was the sale price. So they said 4.5% of $280 is $12,600, and $12,600 times 1.5 is $18,900. So they call us and say, "Hey, we're going to hold $18,900 in escrow." Where as soon as I heard that, I was like, that's crazy, because the people are not even getting that much money. I think they were netting like $20,000 from the sale.
Yeah,
maybe
20, 25, 26.
Under $30,000 from the sale. So at that rate, the inheritance tax would have been like 90 or 80%, which I knew it wasn't that much. So here, this is where the issue came up, and it's a little tricky, but the title companies are allowed to reduce the amount of the sale by any mortgage balance. And in this property, there was a mortgage of $215,000 that needed to be paid. So the right number that they were inheriting was the sale price of $280 minus the $215, which is $65,000. So they should have been telling us that they would hold 4.5% times 1.5 on $65,000, and that would be $65,000 times 4.5% is $29.25, and then $29.25 times 1.5 is $43.8750.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Thomas brings this to me. I think they should be holding around $4,000. Right? I got the exact numbers: $43.8750. That's what they should be holding. So we go back and forth with them, and they're not really responsive, the title company. And then a couple days before settlement, we say, "Hey, look, we want to go over the final numbers with you," and we push back. So what happened is, so you called the title company.
Yeah, so I called the title company, and I wanted an explanation on why were you guys holding so much money. Almost $20,000 in escrow. That's a lot of money. And then Dan brought it to my attention. That $20,000, it can be held for over 12 months.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's not good. And so, when I called the title company, they explained it to me, and then Dan had got on the phone and basically started telling them that, listen, this isn't right. You need to talk to your lawyer, because that's what they kept telling us. They kept telling us that their lawyer advised them to hold that much money, but I don't think their lawyer, knew about the mortgage that was on the property.
And that's really where the issue is. When Thomas called them to push back, they pushed back harder and said, "No, we got to hold this money. We've reviewed this with our underwriter, and that's what we got to hold." And then I pushed back by saying, "Well, this is unfair to the seller because, at this point, you're holding almost as much money for inheritance tax as they're actually going to get that they're going to inherit.
They were only going to walk away that day with probably like $5,000.
So they were going to check for $5,000 from the proceeds for closing, but $20,000 was going to be in it. It just didn't make any sense, right? So finally, we said, please, we're not agreeing to this. And then we get an email within an hour. Yeah, less than an hour later, he gets an email. He shows me the email. We'll agree to hold $43,8750. So the point that why we want this video to come to you, and what we want you to take away from it is, bring some of these questions to me or to Thomas, because really you don't want you want to represent the best interests of your client, but sometimes you don't know. You may be talking to somebody at a title company that doesn't know what they're doing, and here the first
thing she said was, "Listen, I know what I'm doing."
How long? I've been doing this for 20. So first thing she tells us is, I've been doing this for 20 years and I know what I'm doing. But yet an hour later, the whole entire dialogue switched to, all right, we'll do what you want. So even though she was in the business for 20 years, and maybe she does know what she's doing, she didn't know what she was doing in this situation. And had we have not said anything, they would have put almost 20 grand in escrow for our client's money. So I want you guys to realize this inheritance tax thing is a little bit complicated, and a lot of times people don't understand it, and they don't know how to explain it to other people. And even besides inheritance tax, other issues that come up, at least talk to me about it, or talk to Thomas about it, and at least we could hear it and give you our feedback, or give you our 2 cents, or tell you what our experience is. And remember, we're seeing these deals come across our desk all the time. So we're seeing a lot more deal flow than you guys are. So you may have a situation that you haven't faced that you don't know, but we're seeing it almost every day, these same situations. So we know what to do and how to handle it for your seller. So just keep us in the loop, and remember this thing with inheritance tax, if it comes up, the escrow can be tricky. Call us and talk to us about it.
Always be closing, guys.
Thanks for checking us out.